Hello everyone, Monty here, and today I'm going to teach you how to make my chicken meatloaf. So chicken meatloaf is part of my weekend prep routine. There are like three mainstays for me making my food prep every week. I always prep some chicken breasts, I always prep some chili, I always prep some salmon, and I always prep some chicken meatloaf. I also give half of my food to my mother so she's got healthy food, and she shares her food with her friend Marfa, who lives 4 doors down. And so I thought I'd show you how to make it. It's really easy. The recipe is on my website. Also, for those who don't know about my website, it's www.happylifestyleliving.com. There are cooking videos. There are all my packaged foods that I buy. There's all the kitchen gadgets that I use, where you can buy them. There's links on Amazon to click and purchase those foods and those products, as well as my skincare line. I've got a Happy Lifestyle Living Now skincare line also, and I'm going to be doing some videos soon on that. So anyway, to start off with, on my website, there's a link on Amazon to buy about an 8.5 by 4.5 bread pan. That's what I use for my meatloaf. And it's a perfect size for a 2-pound meatloaf. And my recipe, and you have to use my recipe exactly. If you alternate certain types of products, you have to recalculate what the calories are. If you make 11 slices out of this, which makes a nice 11 slices of the meatloaf, it's 153 calories per slice. So it's very low in calories. It's incredibly delicious. There's only one person out of hundreds I know that didn't like it. And it keeps in the refrigerator for 5 to 7 days easily. I mean, I've actually ate some pieces after a week that were still good. What I like to do with it is I slice it. I can put it on a bed of pasta. I can put it on a bed of Brussels sprouts. I can surround it with Brussels sprouts. I like to drizzle salsa verde on it. I break it apart and I put it in tomato sauce and make like a spicy arrabbiata with chicken meat sauce and a little crushed red pepper. I also love making chicken meatloaf paninis with it. Absolutely delicious. And all these recipes are on my website. So anyway, the first thing I do is take the bread pan, again, 8.5 by 4.5, and I just spray it. This is a brand new spray, so it's not coming out. There we go. Spray it with some extra virgin olive oil spray to get it ready. Now, I already prepped all the ingredients, so I'll just step by step show you what I did. First of all, I used the Perdue Fresh and Lean, not the 99% lean, ground chicken and chicken breast. And why I do that is there's not that big a calorie difference between the lean and the 99% lean or 98% lean, I forget what it is. This is a little higher in fat, but the extra fat gives extra flavor. And so I'm okay with that. And we're gonna dump this into the 2 pounds. This was 1 pound. Then we're gonna dump the other pound into here. You can use any ground chicken, but if you use something different than this, you have to recalculate to make sure that the calories are the same. Okay, and then the next thing is long time ago, I didn't want to use breadcrumbs because most of them are white and they're unhealthy and they got all these preservatives and all this crap in it. So I got this idea and it added a very unique flavor to the meatloaf to take the Wasa multigrain crisp breads. I know it's hard to see, but it's the Wasa, W-A-S-A multigrain crisp breads. I use these as crackers, I use them in all, but I also ground them up in my little Ninja food processor that I use for many different things too. Let me unplug it here. And I just ground 4 of these up. So 4 of the Wasa multigrain crisp breads ground up in the food processor to put into my meatloaf. And I'm gonna put it in there. And then I have about 3 medium-sized cloves of garlic. I chopped that up earlier. About 1/3 of a red onion chopped, medium size. About 1/2 of a small tomato. And then about 3 medium-sized leaves of basil. Now the basil adds a really nice taste to it, but you don't want to overdo it with the basil. It'll be too overpowering, so no more than 3 leaves if they're medium size. Maybe very large leaves, maybe only 2. Just wanted to give a hint of the flavor without too much. And then you're going to put in, you can use a whole egg, but originally 153 calories was calculated, I think, on 2 whole eggs. Now I use 2 egg whites, which is less calories. And pour that in, and I forgot my sea salt and my pepper. So 1 second, I'm gonna go get that. And then we're going to now sprinkle in some sea salt. And I use pink Himalayan sea salt. It has nutrients in it, no bad stuff. Where white table salt, read the ingredients, it's got a lot of bad stuff in it. And I think it does taste better, the pink Himalayan sea salt. And we're not only more, it's more flavorful, and it's also got more nutrients. It's got some nutrients in it, which regular salt has none. Okay, so that's all we need to do. Now we just mix it up, and I do use my hands, and I did wash my hands for those of us who always ask me, "You wash your hands first?" Yes, I wash my hands. I love this. My mother loves this chicken meatloaf. Some of my friends absolutely love it. They beg me to make the chicken meatloaf. Funny thing is, I now bring meatloaf or some other dish rather than flowers when somebody's sick. People said, you know, I loved your flowers. A couple of my friends, they said, but I really liked the food better. So I was like, I always say food is love, right? So a couple of my friends had operations or wasn't feeling well. I made food and brought it over to them. So anyway, here we go. Just gonna mix it up real good. It's so cold. It was in the refrigerator. Probably let it sit in. My hands are freezing. Okay, that looks like it's mixed pretty darn good. So this is so easy. I mean, that does take a little time to chop the garlic, the onion, the basil, and then separate the egg, but maybe 10 minutes. And then you just take this, so quick. I always tell people, try to cook. If you got kids, try and cook with your kids. Your kids love to learn how to cook, and what better gift to give your kids than the gift of health and good habits of how to eat and cook. And you can make pizzas, you can make all the food art that's on my website, make waffles look like smiley faces, little snacks look like little birds' faces, and a monkey, pig waffle, a waffle where the guy's cartoon character sticking his tongue out at you. I mean, all kinds of fun stuff you can do with your kids. So as you're gonna see, this is the perfect amount. I bought the bread pan first. This just lucked out that it was the perfect size. Sometimes I have to experiment and buy different sizes. This one, for different things that I'm making. This one I lucked out. So what I try to do then is I just try to make it all even, because I want it to be pretty when it comes out. And I just smooth it down in, and just even it out. Because you know, I always try to make everything pretty. Presentation is everything. And then the other thing too is you want to let it cool before you cut it for, like, I'd say half hour at least before you slice it, or it's just going to fall apart. It will fall apart if you cut it while it's too hot. And then it looks like slices of bread. It's so nice. And there you go. That's it. So I preheated the oven to 375 degrees. I'm going to cook it for 1 hour at 375, and it's going to come out perfect. So when it's done, I will go ahead and take it out of the oven and show you what it looks like. Okay, everyone, I just took the meatloaf out of the oven. It's been cooling actually for a little while, and I'm gonna let it cool a little bit more, and then I'm going to slice it. Remember, you should get about 11 slices out of it, and it will, if you used all the same ingredients I used, it'll come to 153 calories per slice. If you haven't tried my chicken meatloaf, you really should. It's absolutely delicious. I hope you enjoyed my video today on learning how to make my chicken meatloaf.